What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. You're watching the Friday Weekly Market Watch, where Zach Stone and I go over Lorcana news, meta trends, and card prices. My name's Kevin, and we are starting off this weekend with some information about DLC Bologna. If you guys didn't know, the first Disney Lorcana challenge of our format, the Fabled format, is finally here. Now, we did have a DLC already in this year, but that was, I believe, in China, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a different format, so we do have some of those promos already out in the wild. But if this is like your first format or season of playing Lorcana, the DLCs are going to give you a big opportunity to show your skills, win some side event promos, some main event promos too, like this Pegasus and Mulan, which you get the Pegasus for just entering, so it's like a free promo, right? And then the Mulan you get after, I think it's like 4 or 5 wins from what they've said. So these are like the more easier promos to acquire. And if you make it all the way to top cut, you get the Elsa Ice Maker foil and then the Golden Mickey, etc., etc. So we're going to see what are not only the best decks of the format after this weekend, but who are the best players? Who's going to be our first DLC Fable champion? Zach Stone, how are we feeling today?
Feeling excited and a little bit of FOMO for not being in Bologna myself. However, it's okay. We got Milwaukee in a few weeks and we're excited to go to that. I do want to add a little tidbit to the Mulan. They did change it a little bit and announced on the Lorecast that you have to just win 3 rounds in day 1 to obtain your Mulan. And it is like a day 2 threshold, meaning you have to have X amount of points in order to make day 2 to play the remaining 4 rounds. So it will not continue and qualify there. Some people may not want to show up to the next day and just kind of get their Mulan and go. So that's an option for you guys that are going to be at those events. But yeah, I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. And even for the people that just collect this game, I think it's an important time to kind of get into the market because more promos and more exclusives. And most importantly, if you are ready to get into the action, we want to tell you where to watch the live stream. It is at twitch.tv/Disney Lorcana, and that's just where you can get all of the action, all of the excitement. I'm not too sure exactly what time it starts here in like the Americas because I know it's in Italy, but just make sure you look into the time zone to find out when it actually airs.
Now let's talk about some of the cards we're probably going to see on that stream, on that main stage. Some new cards making some meta trends this week, like Max Goof, the chart topper. If you guys haven't been aware, for any of our meta enjoyers out there, Emerald Steel's kind of making its waves right now. Some people are hyping up this Max chart topper as like one of the cards that you can use to sing Strength of a Raging Fire more than once per turn, so that's pretty good. And they've been going up in price. They've been selling for more than 150. We have some sales here for 170, 190 even a couple days ago, 180, and more recently 140 and 141. So they have kind of been looking like they're going back and forth. A lot of the verified sellers are going to have it at a 170 minimum, followed by 190. Then it's trickling up to 195, 200 at the bottom of this page, going by verified sellers. So Max Goof, the chart topper, getting very close to a $200 enchanted, where honestly you're probably gonna have to pay that $200 price point. What do you think?
Yeah, these are a little hard to come by. I do feel like Fabled Enchanteds are very sought after, especially in the very beginning. Everybody wanted their hands on Dumbos and Hades and Bells, and they kind of left Max Goof alone. And now that we're starting to get more attention brought to these other Enchanteds, they are just getting harder and harder to find. So yeah, I'm not too sure. Like, I think 180 is probably like the best price in my opinion, just because there hasn't been any sales at 200 just quite yet. There's only been like 1 or so. So I would like to say like 180. Like if you're gonna get 200 in value, maybe 200 in trade, it's still again a hard card to come by.
Here we have your welcome. This is an enchanted from Shimmering Skies, going up in price over the last couple weeks, mainly because you're able to play this in Sapphire Emerald if you're using Clarabelle to draw cards by matching your opponent's hand size. Using your welcome to sing and shuffle an opponent's card into the deck is actually pretty good, especially if they get to draw 2 more cards after, because that means you get to draw 2 more cards after from that Clarabelle. Pretty cool. This card is shooting up to almost $100 already. Store of Dawnwind, 94.66. Nut TCG 95, and then the next verified seller, Trading Collectibles, has it at $140 already. Wow, there's only 8 listings left right now, so if you don't have your playsets of your welcome to make your Sapphire Emerald deck super shiny, you're probably gonna have to start paying closer to $100 for this enchanted. Zach, you mentioned how everybody was after Bell, the Accomplished Mystic enchanted, and the Hades enchanted from this set. These were selling for around $300 when the set first came out, right? Maybe even a little bit more. And as of right now, going by lowest verified unverified, you can find the bell for a little bit closer to 250. Not necessarily 200. You can go through non-verified sellers and find it for 200, but the card for sure has come down in price a little bit. And what do you think? Why do you think that is? I think it has something to do with the fact that you're able to get these bells, a different version of the bell for the Disney California Adventure promo. So I think that might have made somewhat of an impact. But right now, you can definitely find them for a little bit less than 250 still.
There has been just more Fabled products that have just been recently added to the merchandise pool. So we have the collector set, so there's more Fabled products there. Plus, there's more waves and distributors giving more allocations to stores. So more and more of these enchanted and other playable cards from Fabled have just been trending downwards as a whole, not just exclusively certain enchanted rares. So I just kind of wanted to mention that there's more of an effect taking place because more product is available in the wild, and it is starting to affect the enchanted market just a little bit.
I want to talk about Tramp, the enterprising dog enchanted, mainly because I've been seeing a lot of enthusiasm for the Emerald Amber Chromacon Lady and the Tramp deck, right? It's a pretty cool deck using the Lady and the Tramp cards to kind of have a really aggressive strategy, following it up with a Emerald Chromacon to make sure that your opponent cannot stick any characters on their side of the board, and then you could even see Under the Sea in this deck. So I'm surprised this enchanted rare isn't more, but as of right now, it's $140 for your Tramp enchanted rare, and these were even more expensive at one point. And I feel like I've just been seeing so much enthusiasm for a green yellow dog song to be one of the best decks for DLC Bologna, alongside the Amber Steel aggro deck. Man, like some of these aggro decks are just so punishing, so disrespectful. If you open up Aurora into Tiana into another Tiana, it's actually just feels like it's auto win, like an FTK almost, a first turn win. This card's shooting up in price. It used to be less than $100 over the summer. Even in the beginning of September, they were selling for around 110, 115, 120. Right now, TC Obsessed lowest verified is $150, then Blizzard Lightstorm $150. So you're gonna have to pay $150 for your Tiana enchanted rare now, the restaurant owner. That's pretty cool, no?
Really cool. I know Tiana is very popular right now in the meta, and we will expect a lot of Amber Steel decks to be at the DLC. So you might want to get some Tianas a little bit sooner than later, because this is a little bit harder to find than Fabled right now. Azurite Sea is a set that's just, in my opinion, are still a really strong set with a lot of powerful legendaries, and Diana is still higher than she's ever been. She was floating at easily around like 40s, and we're starting to see some come down just a little bit, like 37, 38s, but I still think she's about a good $40 card in my eyes. So it's still hard to get a full play set without having to spend 40 on at least one of them, and that's kind of why I feel that way. And honestly, this is still just a very like powerful card in the meta, and alongside Daisy Duck, just a 1-drop uninkable that can always quest for 2, starting to see a little bit of a rise in price. Has always stayed around like $9 to $10 consistently, but look, there is not more than just one available from all these sellers, so you're gonna have to spend different prices on getting a playset. And this is why I feel like this card is still a $12 card, because look, Zig's Card House right there has 4 available for you. So if you want to get all 4 from one seller, that is something you guys have to think about when you are shopping on TCG Player.
Next up, Into the Unknown. This card is a $5 super rare. Awesome to see that we have some super rares from the recent sets that are not complete flops. And this is a non-foil version of this card too. I know the enchanted rare is still pretty expensive, very close to $300, but as of right now, if you want to play the regular non-foil, you're gonna have to pay still $5 for your Into the Unknowns. A very strong card for your Blurple decks. I feel like Blurple's gonna be one of the most represented decks in the DLC Bologna space, or even set champs, because set champs is also happening. It started last weekend, so if you guys are playing set champs as well, be on the lookout for some of these meta impacting cards, or make sure to put these cards into your trade binders so that you can make some trades and acquire some of the cards you need for your decks. Lady Miss Park Avenue, I want to talk about this cold foil, because this cold foil is now getting very close to $8 to $9. We have a lowest verified listing right here by Pochettino for $6, and then it kind of starts trickling upward to $7 to $8 right here. Exiled Games with some extra shipping, $3 plus like $5 shipping, and then we have Hobbies and Games for $5 plus $2 shipping, and then Jutsu $8.83. Prices are everywhere for this cold foil, but getting very close to around $8 to $9 for your Miss Park Avenue. Again, man, like I'm an enjoyer of the dog song deck. I'm very confident that this deck will probably be in the finals of DLC Bologna. Like if I had to put my money on it, then I would say Amber Steel or Emerald Amber is going to be like in the finals of Bologna. Vincenzo Santorini, the explosives expert, The cold foil today selling for very close to $8. Lowest verified is going to be Casablanca Tradeco, $6.49 with some extra shipping, and then MTG Cards and Games, $7.80 with shipping included. That's an $8 cold foil for your Vincenzo.
Yeah, just a very strong 7-drop. And again, Brawl did not make it, so this card is going to stick more often than not when you deploy them. Only seeing play in Sapphire Steel right now. I haven't seen any like Emerald Steels play Vincenzo. It's just a little too difficult to play on turn 7. You kind of need that ramp to get him out early, make more of an impact on the board. But let's talk about some more cards that make an impact on the board when they hit the board. Another one that makes a really good impact right here is this Voice Stealer, and a lot of Blurple decks are starting to focus on more tempo-based cards, and even though she can sing songs for free, the main goal is to exert other characters and kind of break that lock, because a lot of players, when they're playing the grind game and the Blurple mirror match, more often than not, nobody's doing anything except Hadesing each other, Elsa-ing each other, and this is just your additional Elsas. Remember, it doesn't have to sing the song, but in order for you to sing the song, you have to exert a character with that cost. So Into the Unknown seems to be like the viable target. I know it's not that good into the Amber Steel aggro decks because Tiana's always sideways and there's nothing that you can turn and sing for free. So it gets a little bit difficult with that matchup, although this cold foil going around like $6 to $7 is something to really, really look at, because I've seen a lot of people ask me for this card. Even if I don't have cold foils, they'll still pick up the non-foils. So it's starting to trend a little bit upward. And if you do need cards, and if you're in the local Southern California area, I got you at Frank & Sons Collectible Show, open every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if you're in the Carlsbad area, Kevin's got you at the Ninja Exchange. When is that open?
Yes, we're open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you guys are in the SoCal area, you can come visit Zach Stone and I and come play some Lorcana.
Wait, we also have a store located in Whittier, California, and it is also doing Lorcana events. We're doing free Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Just as a heads up, guys, it is a 16-player cap, so make sure you get there early. But moving on to the Market Watch.
Yeah, it's a small space, but we're working with what we got. But the Ursula Voice Stealer, a very good card. It's like you were saying, it's the extra copies of Elsa that you need for your deck. You can only play 4 Elsa, the 5th Spirit, right? So being able to play a 5th or even 6th version, this Ursula Voice Stealer, it's a 5-cost character that will exert an opposing character. Still very strong and part of that consistent strategy. I want to talk about Dumbos because Blurple is no longer the only deck that people are playing in the meta. At least that's not what it feels like anymore. And Dumbos are still selling for at least $60. So I do want to go by these near mint only verified sellers. And yeah, lowest verified is going to be 56, and then it's already jumping to 62 and then 65. You know, these prices are everywhere for Dumbos. So I think you're still going to have to pay anywhere from 60 to 65 still for your Dumbo 9th Wonder of the Universe. A very strong card in the meta. I'm very curious to see what Whispers in the Well is going to bring us, because that could make or break a card like Dumbo, to be honest, right? I feel like if they ever reprint a card like Madame Medusa, which we all know from the previous formats was so detrimental to some of these cards with 3 strength or less, then you know, a card like Dumbo could easily be not as good. But that's just speculation, right? Whispers in the Well coming very soon. Very excited. I think we're gonna start getting some card reveals since we're already at like DLC season, about a month and a half away from the next set. I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing some card reveals at the DLC Bologna stream. That'd be really cool. Let's go ahead and talk about Clarabelle, a light on her hooves, since Sapphire Emerald is a very popular deck right now. Lowest verified for your cows are going to be $33.75, actually, almost $35 here. JNL Games has the next verified for $34.50. Wow. Clarabelle, light on her hooves, one of the best draw engines in Emerald, and I'm starting to see this used in more than just Emerald Sapphire. Some players are using this in their Emerald Amber decks, and they're trying to shift Clarabelle to draw some cards, maybe discard it, bring it back with Circle of Life. Don't know how consistent that is for like a DLC tournament, but for a set championship tournament, those are some pretty good strategies, right? I've seen some people use this in Emerald Steel Cow Control. That's a really cool deck. There's a lot of use case for Clarabelle right now, especially because we just don't have many cards in the game that draw, especially the cards that can draw like up to infinite amount of cards like Clarabelle, right?
Yeah, and something too, Emerald just has enough cards that bounce characters back to the hand, and you were talking about the Chromacon earlier, so imagine just turning everything else sideways and just having a Clarabelle stare at you saying, if you remove my characters, I return them to the hand and I get more cards, and that sounds like it's really hard to deal with. And what also was really hard to deal with last format that isn't making too much of a splash this format is the Maui Half Shark. Now, we talked about this earlier on the channel. We haven't seen this card go below $40 ever. And right now you can buy 5 of them for $32.48. I really think that this card, if it goes below $30, guys, is a very solid pickup just to have for the future. I personally don't sell any less than 35 because I would rather buy more than sell them. I think that this card is still a very strong card. We're not seeing too much utility for Maui Half Shark right now. Not too many actions that are going to be worth grabbing back. No friends on the other side, no brawl, no be prepared, but that can change with new cards coming out. And yes, we are alluding to more sets in the future of Lorcana, so you never know what can happen with this card. It can go up, it can go down. I think this is a solid card, and remember guys, there's no enchanted for this card, so cold foils have to be a solid pickup.
Yeah, Maui Half Shark, I really wanted to talk about it, mainly for the reason you just said, that it's just been going down and down in price. Shark isn't the card it was last format. Ruby kind of sucks. Like, Ruby as a color, it's just not a color that you see a lot in top contention of these tournaments, right? And I mean, who knows? Maybe it's because no one's thought of the spice yet. Maybe it just doesn't really fit very well in the card pool right now. But I'm very confident that Maui Half Shark as a card overall is a good legendary. Like, this is just a very strong
Faith
card.
in Ruby, bro. I got faith in Ruby, bro.
Yeah,
Me
too.
I think Ruby can do something.
I think Lorcana game devs realized, like, oh, we made Ruby a little too strong in the last couple of formats. Let's slow Ruby down a lot. Like, if we're gonna give Ruby the ability to just banish cards willy-nilly, let's give it like one card every set, as opposed to like first chapter you got Be Prepared plus Dragonfire plus Dragon, you know.
It's an expensive removal, and it's single target now.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I like it, and like you said earlier too, if they make more cards like Friends on the other side, or any good actions, it's really just based on the actions, because there's not that many good actions right now in like Sapphire and like Amethyst, and those were the two colors you're playing Shark in. But yeah, I'm really glad that you said that if it dips below $30, that sounds like a price that's almost too good to be true. Less than $30 for your Maui Half Sharks, right? Let's talk about Max Goof, the chart topper. This is the Floodborn Max Goof that is new to the Fabled format, and this card's been going up in price. It was as cheap as around $12 to $15 a couple weeks ago. I think a lot of people, like we were saying, they just wrote off the format as Blurple's best deck. And if you're not playing Blurple, then you're playing Amber Steel aggro. And if you're not playing those two decks, then you're losing. Then I don't think Lorcana works that way. And especially when you can play set champs and you don't even have to go to DLCs, and you can just play your locals. You can farm a lot of these like smaller tournaments, and you can go easily like 6-0 undefeated in a set champs with your Max Goof Amber Steel chart topper deck, honestly. And I think that's the reason why this card's going back up in price a little bit. People are starting to realize this card as well. The more songs that come out, the more cards that enter the card pool, the more broken this card is, actually. We don't have Ursula Deceiver of All anymore. Emerald does not have a way to sing songs twice, outside of maybe using Shift Max Goof to sing a song from your discard pile for free, or maybe even the 3-cost Max Goof, which will grab a card from your discard pile, right?
Yeah, and it's just, again, a very interesting card that hasn't been too explored right now. And with more cards coming out, more songs can make this card more powerful. And it's interesting. It started, I think, around like $13, $14, and now it's going up to around $20-ish. So we don't know if this is the next Clarabelle, guys. You have to pay attention to these Emerald Legendaries that keep coming out.
I want to talk about some hype news real quick, Zach. We have a new Elsa Fitz Spirit card. This is the new promo that you can get from the Fabled gift box, which you can now find at your big box retailers. But you let us know that you actually don't even get a pack of Fabled in that little box set, but you do get this Elsa Fitz Spirit promo, which is a glimmer foil. So if you're not familiar with the glimmer foils, if you guys remember the Lilo Escape artist, it's going to be the same foiling, but we're going to have it purple. I think this is kind of cool. $16.79 is a little bit expensive in my opinion, especially when this just came out. So I would give it some time before spending more than $10 on this promo. The Lilo Escape Artist promo settled at around $3 to $5. Although Elsa Fitzspirit is a much more playable card, we have to mention Elsa Fitzspirit is available in the starter deck, it's available in the packs, it's available foil, non-foil, and now a glimmer foil. So do not expect this card to be expensive. I think this price is like way too high right now, personally. So you know me, I'm not going to be picking that up anytime soon. Aurora, Holding Court. This card, I think I like that this card is this expensive because it's showing me that epic rares have the ability to be expensive cards. Almost $25. It kind of settled at 22. Here we have Elion House of Cards, 22.74, and then the next verified seller Twin Knights, 22.74 as well. So very close to $25, but this is a very playable epic rare. And on top of it being a playable epic rare, it feels like it's not even like the most playable card across the board, right? Imagine if they made something like Sail the Azurite Sea an epic rare. Ooh, I feel like that would be like a $30, $40 epic rare. But I think this is cool. I like where epic rares are in the market. The Beat King Undisputed, the Elsa, and the Cusco, those are $10 because they're a little bit more sought after as opposed to the like cheaper ones that are like Robin Hood or Stitch. Those are around $5, right? So you can have some cheap epic rares or some hefty priced ones. Imagine you buy one pack of Fable, then bam, you pull a $22 Aurora. Not too bad.
Yeah, it does take up the foil slot in your pack like an enchanted would, so just kind of keep that in mind, but it's still a very good card to see. I've been playing epic rares in my deck, and I don't think I'm going to for the DLC. I'm a little worried on how I'm a little worried on how they are with playing with them. I am not advising people to play with these epic rares. In my experience, it's just a little easier to tell which ones they are, and I do want people to avoid that when they're playing at any sort of like premier event or even set champs. So just recommending not using these epic rares when you're playing these bigger events, and that was just more of like a PSA warning, really, rather than
what is it about?
You know,
Is it the warping, like the card warps, or would you mind explaining that to any new viewers who might not understand?
All right, guys. So I got this Aurora and I got this Strength. I like to play with shiny cards. I think those that are, longtime viewers of the channel know. But this Aurora, you can almost see like the little like curve. And this is just like flat. So the Aurora is like making the sleeve warp. It's not that the card is warping, but the sleeve is warping to like hold the card. So it's the cards are fine. The cards aren't damaged or being warped. It's just that the thickness of the foiling is causing the sleeve to warp around it. And so that's why I'm saying when you're playing in tournaments and playing in these events, you don't want marked cards.
Okay. Very interesting. Thank you for that example, Zach Stone. And I have heard people share some concerns overall with the new foiling of Lorcana and the new epic rares for that reason. If you guys are TCG veterans, you know that some foiling on certain cards, does make the card curve a little bit a type of way, kind of like the Enchanteds might, right? You can still play them, but in our experiences, there have been situations where, a wrong judge call can happen and they tell you, hey, you can't play with that card specifically. Go change it. Or even worse, you're out of the tournament. So be careful when you decide to play some of these cards. You know what you can't play in your deck? The Jasmine Ephemeral Princess. No. These are from the Jafar's Heist, the Palace Heist, the Illuminer's Quest, actually. And me and Zach wanted to bring it up because apparently they sell for like almost $2. Some of the cards from your Palace Heist, if you guys ever picked up any of the Jafar's Illuminer's Quest, they come with some really good cards, by the way. These are some of the cards that come in the Jafar deck. So you play against the Jafar and they have some overpowered cards, and apparently you can list them on TCG Player. We've been known this, but some of them actually sell for a decent amount. This one's selling for $168 with some shipping, so around $2 plus for this Jasmine Ephemeral Princess. Very, very cool. In case you guys have any of these lying around that you want to get rid of, you can list them, maybe even put them in your trade binder, because some people, they want to make the Jafar deck a little bit more consistent, maybe even a little more stronger, or if you're collecting every princess in Lorcana, you probably need this Jasmine too, right? Before we call it a day, I want to go over some extra news like the Minnie Mouse Sweetheart Princess Iconic Rare. We have an extra sale from last week. This one's selling for $821. Very, very cool. And some other ones selling over this weekend for $825 and $800. But really the reason I bring this up is because Inkborn Heroes, huge shout out Inkborn Heroes, I love their channel. They made a post on Instagram that all the Minnie Mouse Iconic cards that have been sent to PSA 10 have received a grade 10 grading. That's pretty crazy. So everyone so far, this was posted 5 days ago. It's 100% success rate. Granted, in the last 5 days there could have been some that were PSA 9, but as of right now, 17 out of 17 of the iconic minis that have been submitted have gotten a PSA 10. I'm not super huge on slabs. Grading is kind of newer to me. But I think this is kind of wild, no?
Very cool to see. I think the Mickey has one PSA 9. 9 and the rest are 10s as of right now
Wow.
too. So it's good that the quality of these iconic rares are getting graded 10s, and that's very confident for the collectors out there. I know that there was some iconic chasing people, and they've asked me almost every time they come by, any Mickeys, any Minis, I'm looking. And so it's good to see that there is a demand for these iconics, and it's honestly it's a very nice surprise to pull those out of your Fabled packs, but still getting harder to find Fabled, so you might want to look for those newer products that are released, like the collector set, which it has the binder and the 4 packs and the Glimmerfoil Tinkerbell, so it's a pretty cool thing.
And lastly, I got to give a huge shout out to Greg and Zach who come to our booth over the weekend. They mentioned like, hey, you didn't bring up the first chapter booster boxes last week, going up in price. Yeah, apparently last Friday, Zach Stone, the first chapter booster boxes shot back up to more than $300. They were selling for around $230, $240. I don't know. Maybe somebody out there knows stuff that we don't know, but I've been preaching for a while that I think once Fabled comes out, they're gonna stop printing first chapter. That was just like my theory, my thought, right? Because they reprinted a bunch of cards from the first chapter in this new set. So why would they keep printing the first chapter? That's just what I thought. And all of a sudden, sales going up, prices going up. Look at all these selling for around $300. Everything that was at 300 is gone. Now people are paying 350, 349, 332. Lowest verified is Little Root Games, 340 with $10 shipping. Mana Zone, 350 shipping included. The boxes are now $350. That's kind of cool. If you're a Lorcana collector and you don't have a first chapter box like sealed to hold forever, I feel like this is something you might want to have in your arsenal, especially looking back at other TCGs. Having the first set sealed of like a TCG is kind of like the base of collecting, in my opinion.
It is a nice little piece to look at. It's almost going to be a big part of Lorcana's history 5-10 years down the line. It's something that I do have myself. I have a sealed case. It's not the first wave, but I have a couple first wave boxes, and those that know about the first wave and second wave, there is a printing year date on the bottom of the boxes. One says 2023, one says 2024. So just know the difference.
And last but not least, Zach Stone, I want to go over some of the Disney Lorcana Challenge promos. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you do well enough in the events, you can win some of these foil versions of these promos at the DLCs, like this Elsa Ice Maker promo. This is the foil version. This is the foil version of the promo. Right now, there actually is a non-foil version listed for 137 euros. You're going to be able to win the non-foil versions potentially at a third-party CCQ or at some of the side events for these DLCs. So be sure to enter as many side events as you can if you're playing these events. I want to stress that really take advantage of the opportunity, guys. There's so many people who didn't get into the DLCs. They didn't get attendee badges. They didn't get competitor badges. There's some people who I know who got competitor badges and they're afraid to go to the DLC, and I want to shake them and yell at them and tell them, no, you take advantage of it. You should go. It's going to be such a cool event. You can win some promos. You can walk away with a foil version if you end up in top cut. That's really cool. And once again, don't doubt yourself either. I guarantee that you'll do a lot better than you realize. I've seen some awesome stories in TCGs, bro. So to see some of these listings already at $2,000 for this foil Elsa Ice Maker promo. This is the Chinese version. $400 for the Chinese version of the Mulan foil, which, like we just said, you win this for winning 3 rounds in day 1, and people are listing it already for hundreds of dollars for the Chinese version, not even the English version, right? So I'm very excited for the DLCs. I'm excited to watch it as well, Zach Stone. It's just like my sport. This is like my Super Bowl. These are like my, this is like my sports to me. I'm so excited to be able to watch some hardcore trading card game action on the screen, and I want to see who's going to win these promos. And we're going to be playing DLC Milwaukee, and we want to win these promos, right? So it's always really cool to keep up with these promo card prices. If you're a collector, be sure to keep track of like the sales on these, because there's going to be more DLCs, more events throughout the year, and the prices tend to come down as more events unfold, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if this non-foil Elsa Ice Maker kind of comes down in price the same way the Baymax or the Cusco or even the Elsa and the Cinderella promos from the championships last year went down in price too.
Yeah, I really want to stress that some FOMO might come by with a lot of these promos, and there's actually some pins that are as well available, and they look really cool, but there's going to be more available. We are going to have a handful of DLCs worldwide that are going to have these promos, and a lot of these cards will become more available as time goes on. Some people want to get it now, and I totally understand. However, just keep in mind what you're willing to spend and how much they may be later on in the future, if that's going to impact how you feel about your decision now. So think about it and, trust your gut. If you feel like the card is at a good price, buy it. And if you're really a collector and you're about the game and you're about the card, then go ahead and obtain it. I know how difficult it is to find some of these cards after the season's over, so you might not want to wait too long, but I think it's safe to say that you have at least another like 4 to 5 months before you should actually start considering about buying these. So before we wrap it up, I do like to shout out people that come by the show every once in a while and just do some big deals, show some love and support. So today I want to shout out Ryan and John. Thank you guys for coming by this past week, hooking me up with some awesome cards, giving me some great deals on some stuff. And I really appreciate it. I actually find out how far you guys come and to see me at the Frankincense Collectible Show or Kevin down at Ninja Exchange, and it just blows my mind. So I really appreciate all you guys. Thank you for all the support you guys have given us throughout all of the years of doing the content. And we really can't wait to meet a lot of you at Milwaukee.
No, yeah, you guys are crazy. Like you guys are really crazy. We hope that it doesn't bother you that we shill our business here, because we have like card game vending spaces, you know. But the reason why we keep doing it, or why I don't mind especially, is because we've had so many people come up to us, whether it be in City of Industry, in Carlsbad, in Whittier, and be like, "Oh, I've never heard of this place. I didn't know you guys had a space like this. I didn't know there was a place near me where I could acquire Lorcana. So thank you guys for being here." I think a lot of vendors kind of dropped Lorcana. A lot of game stores in our area also dropped Lorcana. So it does feel kind of good, in my opinion, honestly, Zach, to be like that hub for the community. Because, like you said, y'all been watching the channel for years. Y'all been supporting us in a variety of ways. So we really do appreciate you guys coming through. Hitting that like, comment, subscribe, and all those other buttons down there helps us too. And we cannot wait to see you guys at Milwaukee. If you guys are going to be playing DLC Bologna or Set Champs this weekend, good luck. Don't doubt yourself. Practice and be sure to lock in so you can be your next champion. And until then, we'll see you goons next time.